Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Sammy, United People's TV. Another day, another dollar, another live show, another conversation around Gyokeres. Hey, look, I covered it all yesterday in the video discussing Sporting's president's comments, but there's been other stuff reported in the Portuguese press. I think just what you're witnessing is just, it's a bit of an ugly situation between a player's agent and a club. I tell you what, I feel a little bit sorry for Gyokeres, who's caught in the middle of all of this. I'll run through it all. I'll try and explain it all from both angles. I don't particularly think it's any reason to panic or it's a transfer nightmare. As you may read somewhere else, it's not. It's just, it's the drama that kind of comes with certain transfers, and I'll run through it all. We'll also speak about the new kit launch, which came this morning, or last night if your name's Manuel Ugarte, which is really quite funny. Run through, we've signed a 16-year-old from Southampton. Going to cover the other news, and you're going to let me know what you think in the chat. I'll try and involve as many of you as I can throughout the show. Let's get on with it. Let's see who's here. Good morning to you, Josh. Good morning to you, Kyle and Stephanie. The mods down there, Alex as well. Keeping everyone in check. Whipping everyone into shape. What members we've got? We've got Godflow. Great name. Jason. We've got Zinni. We've got Carl. We've got Caleb, Saeed. We've got Ricky. Some non-members as well. We've got Dad Sweets. How you doing? You're normally here. Should be a member. Jonathan, good morning to you. Mr. Anderson. Anyone seen that thing out in, was it Cosm in LA? It's like the immersive Matrix experience. It's kind of like a new way that cinema is going to go. I watched that. I'd definitely go and watch that. I love Matrix. I actually watched that again the other day. A couple of weeks ago. Still as good. The fact that that came out when I was 10 is mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. My sound is not low. I can see my levels. If I'm low, that's because of you. Because if I put my sound up any more, I'm going to start distorting my voice. So I know it's not. Right, let's kick off the show. And I want to start off with something a bit different. I want to say congrats to Stretford Paddock. We hit 500,000, I think it was last month. Congrats to the lads for reaching 800k. Yeah, I like Stretford Paddock. I like what I do. Kind of always have, really. Never really had a problem with them. Bumped into Jay before when we were in Bilbao on the march to the stadium. Just bumped into him. I was like, Sam. First time I met Jay? I told you this before. Me and Jay and Dale from Stretty News, years ago, we did a pilot episode for a podcast that we never actually ended up releasing. Anyway, congratulations to them. 800k. Hopefully this time next year, they'll be coming here celebrating us reaching 800k. It's probably not going to happen. You never know. Eventually we'll get there. I do need to bring more. You know when you see that, you see like Joe and Steve and Adam and Jay and everyone else involved there. It's only me here. I really do need to bring some new faces to the channel. You will see some new faces soon. I'm already having conversations behind the scenes of people who want to get involved and anybody who wants to use the opportunity of being involved with United People's TV. Anyway, congratulations to them. Let's go on with the news. And let's start off with the announcement that came this morning. If you haven't seen it, here is the announcement video for United's new kit. All a bit flashy, all a bit Adidas. And I hate to be a party pooper. I really do. Like, the new kit looks nice. I'm so sort of like non-moved on home kits. Like, it's a decent kit, right? Nothing wrong with it. It's about 80% of what last season's kit was. Little details, I don't know what the little dots are about. Theatre of Dreams written on the back of the neck. I mean, look, it's a nice enough kit. But it's so similar to the kit that comes the season before. When you get, and we spoke about this yesterday, when you get like the away kits, or especially the third kits, is where they can actually do something a little bit different, a little bit out there. And Mania, you've got it down there. This absolutely creased me up. I'm presumably because Ugarte's out in Uruguay. Is he out in Uruguay? Either way, Ugarte on Instagram last night popping up 2 photos of him sitting in the new kit. Swiftly deleted, by the way. But I'm guessing because of the time zone difference, Ugarte had a bit of a whoops. What do you think about the kit? Let me know in the comments. DP saying it's an age thing, too old to get excited about kits. When it comes to kits, right? The only reason anybody ever cares about a kit is if you go on to do something in that kit that season. Or there's a player that's absolutely unbelievable. And it's like, you see those posts that go around social media all the time. Oh, who does this kit remind you of? I don't know, like you see the fully black Vodafone kit and immediately you'll think of like Roy Keane or Ruud van Nistelrooy because you'll remember the sick players who played in those kits. What would you give it out of 10? Jonathan, you're giving it a 7 out of 10. If next season United were to do something and actually all of a sudden look like a genuinely competent team and have a really good run and smash the FA Cup, then you'll remember that kit. I think the kits are related to the success that comes in them. It's a bit like stadiums as well. When United seemingly move to a new stadium, it won't feel like home there until you have a trophy celebration. United win the Premier League and lift it in that stadium, or the Champions League and lift it in that stadium. And as soon as that happens, it's like, okay, well, this is my home. You can come here. Nothing new about the kit. There's tweaks. I prefer ones with collars. I'll be totally honest. Stu, you're giving it a 6 out of 10. 7 out of 10 says Kiwak. 8 says Michael. I like this, but I'll stick with a 22-23 kit. Don't know. We'll see. Yeah, give me that third kit. That third kit. Oh, baby. I'm buying that bad boy. May or may not already have bought it. You know what I'm saying? Not from the official stores. You know what I'm saying? Right. Let's get into the news. Get into transfer news. Kieran, you're saying you want a proper collar back. They should have put a collar on the third kit, man. You can't have that black nod to the sharp view cam Cantona kit and not put a collar on it. Feels like a massive miss. Anyway, transfer news. It seems like City are just buying everybody. I don't know. It seems like City are just getting their transfer business done before they get a transfer ban. I don't know. They weren't even really involved in any conversations around Nipan. Did he go and visit? I think it was in January where he was visiting different clubs. I know he visited Arsenal. Either way, David Ornstein last night saying City are close to an agreement to sign him. Hey. Seems like a very good signing. I mean, the only memories that I've got of watching him was when we played Rosenborg last pre-season and he was running rings around us. That's one of the main reasons that we signed Cristiano Ronaldo as well. When we played against him, every player was like, who's that? He's far too good. Sign him. I think he did visit City back then, but City are having a very quick... The reason that City have already announced the likes of Cherki and Reinders, I think they've announced him as well, the goalkeeper from Chelsea, something like that. It's because they're playing the Club World Cup, which starts in like a couple of days. God, how switched off are you to that? I might watch it. We'll see. But either way, seems like a good signing that for City. Unfortunately, we'll find out. But let's move on to the headline for today. And, of course, it's the Gyokeres situation. Today's lunchtime video is going to have nothing to do with Gyokeres. Yesterday's lunchtime video was supposed to have nothing to do with Gyokeres. I was about to record that video saying what's going on with our sales and actually show you some more detailed info on every player that we're trying to sell and what the latest and most reliable reports on all of them are. Because a clear out is needed this summer. We know that. You know that. Everyone knows that. And then that sort of massive interview came out with Sporting's president. And it was is it a surprise? I don't think you see it too often, do you? Like a president coming out in sort of a rebuttal to something that an agent is saying. Does this, any sporting fans down here in the comments or any sort of European football fans down here in the comments, does this happen more outside of England? I suppose we don't really have presidents. But I can't imagine at any point Omar Barada coming out and I suppose he's the closest level you're going to get to a president, coming out and responding to the press against something that's been said by an agent. I don't really know. Jade saying a big chance Sporting will get a massive transfer ban because of this. I mean, I don't really know if that's true. But of course, this is what the story is about. I ran through it yesterday. I'll briefly overview it today, and then I'll run through what else has been reported in the Portuguese press since. Because it's a bit messy, right? It's a bit ugly. And you're saying it shocked you, kind of paints the club in a poor light. You can see it on the thumbnail here, right? Someone's lying. Someone's lying. Whether it's the agent of Gyokeres or the president of Sporting. One of them is lying. Who you choose to believe at this point it's kind of your opinion. That's just, you're taking all the speculation, everything that's being said, and you're going, I think he's telling the truth, or I don't think he's telling the truth. One thing that changes it, and this will be interesting, when the reports first came out about Gyokeres being furious at this whole situation, inside that article from the Portuguese press, they said that they had recordings of Sporting's president saying that he could leave for somewhere between 60 and 70 million euros. If you've got that recording and you drop it, then it paints Sporting in a very, very bad light. And for other players as well that Sporting want to sign, wouldn't put them in a good light. This is what he said. I ran through it all, but you only really kind of need to go down here. He's basically accusing Gyokeres' agent of blackmail and insults. We will not accept 60 plus 10. So they're not going to sell him for 70 million euros. Like, ladies and gents, I'll be totally honest here. I don't know if United should go above that. I really don't. Not because I think that Gyokeres would be a bad player. Not because I think Gyokeres would not be worth it if he brought those goals to United. It's the fact that Gyokeres, at the age that he is, he's 27. Like, you might disagree with this, but like, we cannot. You are putting all your eggs in that Gyokeres basket working. It has to work. There is no room for manoeuvre, right? When it comes to Cunha, when it comes to Mbumo, if it doesn't work out with them, you'll have a little bit of a get out. You'll probably be able to sell them for a decent amount of money in a couple of years' time. And it won't be too bad. But if you sign Gyokeres for 70 million euros, more than 70 million euros, and it doesn't work out, then you're going to have someone on big wages and his price is only going to go the opposite. There is no leeway with Gyokeres in the way that there's leeway with Mbumo or Cunha. That's where the risk lies with Gyokeres, even if you do sign him. Let me see what you're saying down here in the comments. Would handing in a transfer request make any difference? Richie, it would make a massive difference. But up until this point, and I've seen there was quite a few Sporting fans, big up this, I always like this when I see it. On the video I did yesterday, there was quite a few comments from actual Sporting fans. Not in an angry way. They're saying, like, thank you for reporting it accurately, and this is kind of what's going on. There's never been a bad word said about the professionalism of Gyokeres at any point, in terms of how he carries himself as a footballer, in terms of how he trains, in terms of how he, plays on the pitch, in terms of how he interviews. No one's ever said a bad word about Gyokeres. So it would be quite a shift if at this point he was to put in a transfer request. And this is where I feel sorry for Gyokeres, because he wasn't actually in the meetings between his agent and the president and everything that was going on there. I mean, you don't have to be, right? That's what you get your agent in for. That's why you trust your agent to do those jobs and have those conversations. So Gyokeres has got to believe his agent, really. Otherwise, what's the point in employing him? So therefore, Gyokeres is looking at it going, what's the club doing? They gave us this pact and this agreement that Fabrizio Romano, of course, has said previously. And yesterday, Fabrizio doubled down on it. Tense situation between Gyokeres and Sporting. Despite the previous pact for an exit fee worth around 65 with add-ons, Sporting's president insists on a higher fee. The price still under 100, but not 65 million now. Gyokeres is described as furious. And yeah, it's just a bit ugly. Glenn saying, hasn't he sacked his current agent? I haven't heard anything about that. And if he does sack his current agent, then I think you know where the truth probably lies. I'm going to go down here and read some of your comments out. Someone there saying Gyokeres wants to leave, so if we don't act, his agent is duty-bound to explore options. And I'll speak about Arsenal next. He wanted to leave before and only stayed because he made the deal. Last summer, there was a lot of interest in Gyokeres, but I'm not sure anybody actually really came forward with the money. I don't think so, anyway. I remember Chelsea were linked with Gyokeres last summer. Arsenal, maybe? Did anybody actually go in with a bid for him last summer? I don't quite know. Chris, you're talking about Arsenal. I'll speak about Arsenal next. Carly saying players will trust their agent. I mean, you have to, right? Martin, you're saying Cunha's 26 and we paid 62.5 mil. Don't see an issue paying something similar for a 27-year-old. Well, what is 62.5 mil in euros then? 62.5 mil in euros. No, that's the wrong platty. Why is it that sometimes your keyboard gets a bit whiffy? 73.4. Well, they've already said that you won't go for 70, so I don't really know whether 3.4 is going to make that much of a difference. Yeah, United have got a good relationship with Sporting. We've got a great history of signing players from Sporting and Portuguese players in general, really. We should make a move on Sesko and call Arsenal's bluff. Well, this is where you're seeing just the games unfolding even more, right? This was reported in £62.5 million is 73.4 million euros. I've just done the exchange, right? This came out in the Portuguese press yesterday, and you're just seeing the sort of the game unfolding. Gyokeres slams the door at Sporting. Swedish forward feels let down, has informed the club he will not play for Sporting again. And then this came out yesterday. And this is absolutely to be expected. Why wouldn't his agent meet with Arsenal? Remember, I think it was David Ornstein back in May saying that Gyokeres was on the list, that Andrea Berta, the new sporting director that Arsenal brought in, was interested in signing him. So why wouldn't Gyokeres be on the list? And especially considering the prices that we're seeing around Sesko probably aren't far off 80 million euros. And like Lee down there with I'll be honest, like a ridiculous comment. Ineos couldn't run a bath. Little bit of context here for you, Lee. Let's call it three-ish weeks ago. 3-ish weeks ago, we thought this summer was going to see us sign Liam Delap and a half-eaten pack of biscuits. That's as far as our ambitions went in the window. Fast forward a couple of weeks, and we've signed Cunha. We're going in for Mbeumo with a second bid, and we're actually in a conversation for Gyokeres. So, calm the hell down. Remember where we were mentally a couple of weeks ago to where we are now. Oh, nightmare transfer, nightmare situation. Oh, shocking, shambles, unbelievable. Calm the hell down, people. Seriously. How do you get so worked up about it? How do you just lap it up? You really do. And that is the language that Brent thrives on. Thrives on. And so many people latch onto it. And it's so frustrating. So frustrating. If I can ask you here, right? Because I imagine United will go in with a bid. I imagine United going with a bid. Right? How much do you think we'll actually go in for? So, Sporting have said they're not going to accept 70 million euros. Are we taking that as their word, or are we going to test it at 70 million euros? The comparison, the example I had was when Dortmund said that Sancho was 120 mil, we tried to chance it with 80, and they said, well, it's not 120, we're not accepting. Are Sporting going to hold that position? I wouldn't exactly say that they're Sporting are flush with options for Gyokeres. DP, he's talking about like a bidding war is one that we can't afford. I don't even think this really kind of needs to be a bidding war. I think it just kind of needs to be, we assess the situation. Would we like to sign Gyokeres? Well, of course we would. Are we going to have a top price for him? Yeah, we are. So kind of may as well go in with that top price. I know that's typically not what you do in negotiations. In negotiations, you probably go in a little bit less than what you expected and you'll be able to negotiate upwards. But, can United really afford to waste that sort of time? And in a situation like this, which is turning a bit ugly. Let me see what you're saying in the comments. 65 plus add-ons, Frogman and John, you're both saying 65. 60 plus 10, says Finn. 65.5. Lots of you are still saying 70 all in. And you're saying 60 plus 20 in add-ons. Yeah, well, if we win the Champions League, you can have some more money. If we win the Premier League, you can have some more money. If he scores 50 goals for United, you can have some more money. That's not an outrageous call, to be fair. 60 and then that 20 million in add-ons just make them difficult. And the only reason that you would then pay 80 million euros for, that's what I think about add-ons, man. Like, no one can, like, you go back to like the Mason Mount situation. I can't remember what that transfer was. I think it was like 50 mil plus 10, something like that. I don't care if we end up paying another 10 mil to Chelsea if we end up winning the Premier League with Mount, or he ends up scoring X amount of goals, or we win the Champions League. If you tied those add-ons into actual success at the club, no one's going to bat an eyelid for the fact that we paid an extra 5 mil out for a player. No one would care. You really wouldn't. It's kind of like player contracts being linked with bonuses. You know what I mean? It'll be base salary, but if it reaches, if you are successful, they get more money. Fine, don't care. We were successful. 60 mil, an extra 20 million add-ons. Yeah, fine. I don't really care because we'll be successful. 65 plus 5. Lots of you are still saying around about the 70 million mark. I don't really think we can go high. I don't even think that we were going to go as high as that. I'll be totally honest. Hero saying, you think that Gyokeres' agent in talks with Arsenal is just bait to make United move faster? No, I think this is just Gyokeres' agent doing his job. Gyokeres wants to leave Sporting this summer. United could be a destination. Isn't the only destination. Could well be Arsenal, Juve, Al Hilal. They're the 4 clubs linked. So, of course, he's going to sit down. Of course, he's going to have those conversations. I don't think it's bait at all. I just think United aren't the only club in the mix for him. And it helps. Does it help? In fact, when you think about it, it actually takes away from Gyokeres' agent and his negotiation power if you have more clubs in. Because if you've got more clubs in, then there's more likely to be a bidding war. And the price is more likely to be higher. If you've only got one club who is interested in signing him, you've probably got more room to try and wiggle that price down. Brandon saying, yes, Sam, love the content. Thank you very much, dude. Do you think Mbeumo will get done in the next week? I hope that Mbeumo got done the weekend. I'll run through. There's a very, very brief conversation we'll have about Mbeumo because the conversation doesn't change until that second bid goes in. 70 mil, 75 mil is an overall package, someone says down there. Could we not offer Anthony as part of the exchange? I mean, you could. I'm sure they're going to accept that. Paul, he was bad at Coventry. Might want to go back and look at his time at Coventry there, mate. Keith, you're saying, Sam, do you think, who do you think made the fake deal? Because that's what's happening. Either his agent has told him lies or the president's gone back on his word. That's the exact thing. Like, someone's lying. We just don't know who. And it's just that we're Man United. We're in for this player. We're now involved in this Desperate Housewives episode 6 drama where Sheila's round the corner saying one thing, but then Tina's getting pissed off and then saying something else. That's what it feels like. That's funny. Well, it's not really that funny. It is a little bit funny. He's obviously not going to play for Sporting next season. And I'll be interested to... Okay, I'll ask you now as a question. What do you think the next episode of Desperate Housewives is going to be then? Where does this go from here? Because Gyokeres could hand in a transfer request. He could, right? That would take quite a bit of negotiation power away from Sporting. And for any Sporting fans, I imagine it will leave a bitter taste in the mouth. That could happen. We could get the recordings leaked to the press. Which, like, if you're the agent and you've got those recordings, man, just leak them, man. That's your trump card. Like, boom, slap that on the table. If they don't exist, which they might not exist, then it's just going to be tit for tat with no evidence. And it's just going to be he said, she said until something happens. Yeah, Hemant, you said that it could well fire his agent if he was telling porkies. All fun and games, isn't it? Rex saying, if we find out the president was lying, can we send a 70 mil bid plus Sancho? Would Sporting want Sancho? Is Marcus Edwards still at Sporting? Did he leave? Can't remember. Always quite enjoyed watching him. Apart from Osimhen, who is your plan B to Gyokeres, says Anthony. It's a really good question. The lunchtime video today will be on focusing on player sales. Tomorrow, maybe we can have a conversation about Gyokeres alternatives, or maybe just have a conversation around Osimhen, because when you're talking about these numbers, you're firmly in Osimhen territory. Have we earned some money from the Europa? I think we earned, was it 17 million overall, I think, for the Europa? We earned 8 mil from the postseason tour in Malaysia, which is nuts, isn't it? Go show how much you earn from those tours. You know, I played 2 games in, what was it, Hong Kong and, what was it, Malaysia? Can't remember. Hot coffee and games. To clear, the Portuguese press say the agent claims to have recordings they have not seen or heard them. Yeah, that's a big thing. You're saying, I believe the deal will be done for 70 plus 10. And then we come to the ultimate truth, right? Then this really is the ultimate truth. None of us care how much our club pays for any players. Really? No one actually cares. It doesn't come out of my pocket. It doesn't come out of your pocket. It doesn't actually matter as long as the player is successful. It's when the player isn't successful and all of a sudden you spent 82 million on Anthony and you spent 70 odd million on Haaland, then it gets used as a stick to beat the club with, and then you suffer the repercussions. The money doesn't really matter. The only reason we care about the money as much now is because United's finances are screwed. If our finances were as good as they should be, for a club of United's size, none of us would really care at all about how much a player goes for. Be like, just go and get him. That's the right player for the team. Just go and get him. Doesn't matter how much he costs. Well, unless you go nuts and do 150 mil euros, which is what Liverpool play for Wirtz, which is nuts. But yeah. So Sammy saying, I don't agree with that. It sets a precedent for our recruitment going forward, and that's fair. And that's a fair point. It's tough. It's why the transfer window, it's why we all enjoy the transfer window. Because it brings you your new signings, it brings you the new hope for the new season, it allows you to look at something differently compared to what you saw last season. You can see your team improving, and it's exciting seeing new players, talented players come and play for your club. That's what the transfer window always brings. But it also brings drama. So if we go to the active transfer whiteboard, don't know why I'm doing that. You can see this is where we're at now. All right. This is where we're at. Sporting don't want to accept 70. Let's see what goes on. And Mbumo is the one that we are still waiting on for United fans. I'll read a couple of your chats out and then we'll move on. We'll have a conversation about Mbumo. Anthony went on strike. Yeah, that did happen. I wish he didn't. I wish he just, stayed at Ajax, but very few record fees translate on the field. Saragon, we spoke about that yesterday. I was saying about the Wirtz deal, and I was like, Mbappe lived up to that price tag. But there are so many examples of players who haven't. Far more examples of players who haven't lived up to a price tag that size compared to a player that has. And at United, if we were to look, I don't really want to do this, but I'm going to do this, right? Because I guarantee you this is bad. Man United, most expensive signings ever. And we looked at this top 10 list. This is going to be sticky. You're going to be annoyed at me for showing you this because it will not make for good reading. Our most expensive signings ever, right? And whether they've been a success or not. My word. Paul Pogba, I don't think Paul Pogba was anywhere near the levels of failures of some of these on the list, but Paul Pogba wasn't the player, wasn't the it wasn't as great as we hoped it would be. So pretty much, I'm putting him on the wrong side of failure, but not as anywhere near as much as the other ones. Anthony, it's disgusting. Maguire, tumultuous, I think, is the fair way to describe his career. He was on the upward curve last season, but just still kind of not really. Jadon Sancho, get in the bin. Romelu Lukaku, really weird one. I think when you look back on history of Lukaku's career, it would kind of be quite kind to him. But I'm calling Lukaku a failure as well. Rasmus Højlund, Angel Di Maria. Like, it's disgusting. That list is so grim. We are so good at wasting money. It is unbelievable. Cunha, we don't know whether he's going to be a good signing. Casemiro, cracking for the first season. There's no way you go and spend that much money on a player of that age. And then Mason Mount. You're kidding me. Out of that top 10 list, who's the most successful? I know I'm burning. My bad, burning your eyes. Oh my God, it's so bad. That top 10 list. Maguire? I don't know. I don't know who I would put as number one. Either way, you get the point. Sticky. Big signings rarely have lived up to expectation at Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes is 11th on that list. Anyway, let's move on and let's speak about someone who, well, I'm guessing he would join that list alongside Cunha if we were to sign him. And Mbeumo, right? This is the latest from the Times. United are weighing up another offer for Mbeumo, with the West London club looking for closer to the 60 million. And we're kind of seeing different prices being banded around. Somewhere between 60 and 70 million. I don't really know. I really don't know. Mbeumo, the second bid's not gone in. I'm curious as to why United are taking their time on this one. Maybe they've been waiting for the Thomas Frank situation to happen, but has he been unveiled yet as Spurs manager? I don't know whether he's officially been unveiled, but we've got the here we go, so it's going to happen. No movement from Spurs, Arsenal, or Newcastle. I think they've all stepped away from the Mbeumo situation. So I don't really think it's a massive pressing issue with like loads of clubs going to be coming in, and we moved early for him. He chose United. The first bid got rejected. The second one will go. And at some point this week, I think we'll get the second bid. I don't really see why we wouldn't. But I also don't really understand why there hasn't been a second bid in the last 8 days now. Considering, if you consider how fast we moved between Ornstein saying that Cunha has chosen United to the first bid going in, then I'm surprised it's taken 8 days. We'll see. Dada Caesar, how you doing, buddy? Thank you for super chat. You're saying nice touch with the paddock. Too many haters in this world. If you need help from someone with charm, character, and more important, loyalty, I'm your man. We'll work for 3, but need to include the occasional Starbucks and pot noodle. I don't really care for coffee. Already said that. I don't drink caffeine. Pot noodle, though, we had a conversation about that the other week. Did we agree Bombay Bad Boy? I think we did. I haven't had a pot noodle in a long time. Super noodles were my one. Oh, super noodles at uni. Sometimes you're a bit lazy. Sometimes you did it in the microwave. Sometimes you did it in the hob. Got to get that consistency right. I don't know what that dry powder is, but it was crack. Man, I love that. Aloysius is saying, Sam, just a random question. Do you think that transfer have been done a few months ago but only start to come alive now? No, not really. If you look at the Kenda situation, that was kind of done and dusted a couple of months ago. Yeah, coffee. Don't really care for coffee. There's a random little comment there. Amir saying, Sam, just got my college results back and I got 79%. Can we all say as well, big shout out to Louis, part of the social team United People's TV, got 2-1 in his engineering degree. Round of applause. I got a 2-2. Stupid bloody thing. 1%. I needed 1% more on my dissertation, and I would have got a 2-1 overall. Anyway, screw those guys. All worked out in the end. Let's be totally honest. Hot Coffee saying Gyokeres is 11 months older than Cunha, and you want to pay less for Europe and Nation League's most prolific striker. 70 million euros will never happen. It's too low. Well, not if they've got an agreement for him to be released at that price. Kind of that's really kind of part and parcel of the conversation. If that agreement exists, then follow through on it. If it doesn't, then you probably don't let him go for that price. Let's be honest. Now, move on to a random little signing here. I say random little signing. So it's more of a youth team signing, all right? This is Harley Emsden-James from Southampton, and Manchester United have signed him. The 16-year-old has become the latest academy signing by United, and it kind of follows in the footsteps of the likes of Sekou Kone, Cheeto, and Aiden Heaven. A little bit. I'll probably say that Emsden-James is going to be going into the under-18 setup next season, rather than somebody who, like Aiden Heaven. And this is the thing, like, when Aiden Heaven joined, we were like, well, okay, well, oh, what, he's in the first team already? Oh my God, he's actually really quite good. I don't think that's going to be the same thing with Emsden-James, but I've got him down here on the done whiteboard. So that's 2 signings we've got here. Cunha's done. Emsden-James is in. 63.5 mil getting spent. Born in 2009. I'm old as shit. I'm old as hell. Actually, I'm not old. I'm older than him, though. Either way, welcome to United. And these, I'll always get excited about these signings. They're sort of like the unknown entities. Jason Wilcox is clearly, would I say, leading on this strategy? Chris Vavell has got a great history of being able to spot those signings. I think Chris Vavell was involved. I think United were scouting Sekou Kone because of the Under-17s World Cup before Chris Vavell came in, but I'm expecting United to make a couple more signings like Emsden-James this summer. Bringing in what you can that's the best from domestic academies, like Cheeto, like Heaven, like Emsden-James, or sign players like, as you say, Darren, Diego Leon. And that video is, I reckon, Saturday, I think I'll do that video. I just want to do like a bit of a summary of saying, okay, what's happened in the last couple of months? How many games has he played? How many goals has he scored? Are there any standout moments? Did he have any problems? Any highlights you can show me? When did he join United? Yeah, anyway, I'll always be excited about those sorts of signings. So that's the second one that we've got completed this summer. And, well, second signing overall. And I think there will be more academy signings to follow, right? This is Marcus Rashford, right? Over on Instagram saying feeling good again. And that's just simply him saying, well, injury's gone. So that's good news for United as far as the prospect of selling Marcus Rashford goes. Because if Rashford was injured all summer, well, do clubs, random question, do clubs sign injured players? Or is it just a case of if you, because you got to pass a medical, right? Is it a case of if you're injured, you just can't be sold during the summer? Like, when United were going to sign, I suppose it's a bit different. We were going to sign Van Nistelrooy back in the day. And then I think he did his ACL or something. He had a major injury, major knee injury, and then we didn't sign him for a year. Do players move during the summers if they have injuries? Like, do the clubs that are signing them sort of absorb that response? Because it would be a risk, right, for any club if they were to sign him, if he wasn't fit. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, United do that. I suppose it does depend a bit on the injury. I don't actually know what Rashford's injury was. I think it was a hamstring. Højlund with the back injury. Yeah, that's a good point. Stupid club. Man, do you remember that little Højlund run after he scored against? Was it after he scored against Villa and then he scored in like 5-6 consecutive games and then got his injury again? You have to pass medical for insurance purposes, apparently. So that down there. You're saying number 8 is still your biggest concern overall? Yeah, there really hasn't been much movement on midfielders. I already ran through the list of midfielders I'd like us to look at. I think Hayden Hackney can be a conversation that we should have. And let's see what happens there. Maybe it makes it more difficult if now that Carrick's left. But yeah, Rashford's back sort of training. A little bit on Sancho. And exactly what we spoke about. And exactly what we predicted. Of course, contact with Sancho is always there. In some way, we've got a very long history. But now, mate, we've got other priorities at the moment. And therefore, the Sancho issue may have been played more in the media than discussed internally. Oh, we love you, Jaden, but yeah, we don't care about you enough to actually sign you. Oh, you're so good, yeah. No, we're not actually gonna spend money on you. We'll gas you up though. Won't actually put the money down though. That's what's gonna happen with Sancho and Dortmund. Just like flirting from a distance, just like blowing kisses at each other, but then not actually doing anything. That's what I imagine happens with Sancho this summer and Dortmund. Which isn't really good news for United because I just want to get rid of him. It's me. You're sending me what looks like a chicken and a cup of tea. I don't even know what that is. I just don't do caffeine. Does anyone else get offended by that? I mean, you're not going to get offended. That's a bit of a strong word. Just never have. It's like any time like back at uni, people drinking vodka Red Bull. Man, that would twist me up, man. That would twist my melons, man. Either way. Sancho and Dortmund. We'll speak a little bit more about Sancho. And a final thing here on Garnacho. Coming from the Times. They're just saying this. Charlotte Dunk is saying 50 mil, and that's what United are expected to demand for Garnacho. And that's what United should be demanding. I think we had a conversation about this as well. You think 40 mils are right as long as we've got good add-ons. I want United to get more up front in maybe a little bit of a lesser release clause. Or he can't go for 40 mil. I don't think so. Yeah, kind of like, don't mind a little bit of Coke Zero here or there. But no, just standard energy drinks like a Monster or a Red Bull or tea or coffee. I just don't really like caffeine that much. Joseph's saying, let's talk about Osimhen, please. Why are we talking about Osimhen? Let's pull up this photo here. This is the same way we wasted time on De Jong. I mean, I don't really think we're wasting much time here. Like, again, remember, it's 12th of June. We've got one signing in. We're going in with a second bid for Mbeumo, and we're clearly interested in Garnacho. We're clearly interested in Gyokeres, but it's just clearly it's an ugly situation. There's more to it. It's not as simple as United going in with a bid, because United are probably speaking with his agent saying, "How much is he going to leave then? Like, what's the agreement?" And he's telling United, "Oh, we've got an agreement, 65 million euros. Boom, you go in with that, you get it." And now the president's coming out and saying, "Hold on, I never agreed that. There's no way he's leaving for 70. So as a football club, United are like, well, we should probably kind of step back from this a little bit, actually see how this plays out. Because a lot of you would laugh at United if United went in aggressive, signed Gyokeres, great, and we sign him for 80 million, and then a voice recording comes out a week later that proves that the gentleman's agreement was there for 65 mil. And we go, so we just paid how much more for a player that we didn't need to? I think United are just kind of biding their time. I don't really see the striker situation getting resolved quickly, and nor do I actually think it needs to be. I've said this before. I want United, and I agree with that, I want United to focus their efforts on that central midfielder. That's the bigger issue with Cunha, and when the Mbeumo situation gets sorted, fingers crossed soon, fingers crossed this week actually, we've added goals into this team. Do we still need a striker? Yes, we do. But I think we need a midfielder as a bigger priority, considering the goals that we're going to bring in with Cunha and Mbeumo. Not that those two solve our goal-scoring exploits themselves, but the bigger priority is definitely a central midfielder. Has United Newcastle signed anyone? I don't even know anyone they've been linked with, apart from Elanga, which again, no updates on that one. Mania saying, can we not compare the Frankie de Jong chase with this one? And remember that photo of John Murto and Richard Arnold just like bopping around in Barcelona? These are dark times. They were. What's going on down here? Once bitten, twice shy. Don't need to rush and overpay. I don't really see and this might annoy you, I don't really see the Gyokeres situation being one that United need to rush. We needed to move quickly with Cunha and Mbeumo because there was competition and from the Premier League as well. Right now, okay, Arsenal are involved. Okay, Arsenal are also involved with Sesko. We don't know what's going on there. We'll see. But look, what's going on there? Cunha pictured in new United shirt. Where's that at? Where's that going? I can't see that. It's Lenny Euro. Nah, can't see that anyway. You lied to me, mate. Right, let's wrap up. I should have done this earlier. Ladies and gents, if I can ask you, can you please subscribe to United People's TV? If you are new in town, there's plenty of you watching, and it's been a busy month so far, but I'm going to be here all summer long for June, July, and August. I'm going to cover absolutely everything in as much detail as I can and as accurately as I can. I won't try and cause any panic. All right. Lunchtime video today is going to be around all the sales. I'm going to take a look at Rashford, Sancho, Garnacho, anything we can get from Elanga or Alvaro, any money's coming in. I'll run through all of that. And then tomorrow, what should we do tomorrow? Might take a look at Gyokeres alternatives. We might just have a conversation about Osimhen. I was going to do that early this week, and then all the stuff exploded with Gyokeres. But I think there's probably a conversation that could be had around Osimhen. All right, I'm going to go crack on. I'll be here tomorrow morning, and if anything breaks today, you know where to come. Take it easy.